Hello. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to another video. You are watching the Daily Dose of Tech, a dedicated series where we discuss and play around and discover new topics around the tech, from the tech. And from the past couple of days, we have been working on Azure Bicep, and in today's video, we'll be covering one more topic from Azure Bicep itself, and it will be about the use of existing resources. Sorry, not existing resources. It will be about the extensions. We have already covered the existing resources. So without wasting our time, let's start. I know this usually we keep our videos between 30 to 60 minutes, but let's see how much time I'm gonna take this week in this video to explain you guys. So I'll open my Figma and basically we'll start. Okay, before starting, obviously, if you would like to follow me, you can obviously subscribe to my channels. This is the channel where we come up and discuss everything around tech. I have been working on creating a playlist on Azure Bicep. So if you are interested, if you are from Azure community, you can follow that playlist as well. Feel free to connect me on Instagram. All the links are in the description. If you want to connect me professionally, you can connect me on LinkedIn. If you want to talk about any random topic, you can do talk on X with me. For all the codes and logics, you can subscribe. You can reach out to my GitHub link. And if you are interested to meet other fellow developers, we are building a big community on our Discord server, so please feel free to join them. And you will get notified for every new videos there as well. All right, so I'll just quickly go over. So we have been doing everything. So we just started with Azure Bicep. We discussed what are the different ways to deploy things, benefits of using Bicep, what are the Azure deployment scope, where we can deploy, resource provider and types, installing Bicep and writing our first Bicep file, then how to deploy that Bicep file, then what is the difference between resource name and the deployment name, working with the parameter file, Bicep keywords, Bicep data types. All these we have already covered. Then we discussed about the difference between import and using, user-defined types. Then in the last video, we discussed about the existing resources and dependency keyword, how they are used in writing the infrastructure as a code for your programming language, for your cloud infrastructure. Today, we will be discussing about another important keyword that's called extension. So I'll take you directly to the official documentation, Azure Bicep official documentation. And we can go to the concepts, and there is an existing resource. So basically, I don't know why I'm saying existing resource every time, but basically extension resource is, so there are few resources that adds the functionality or modifies the resources. So for example, in Azure, there are some role assignments, there are some diagnostic settings, there are some resource log that you can apply to resources. So there are some general behaviors that you can apply to some of the existing resources, and these general behaviors are kind of an extensions which modifies the overall behavior of the main resource. So that is what it is used for. For example, before that, you can go to this link and you will get to know about all the extensions of present for a specific type of resource, right? So for example, if I take you to the event grid, subscription, APIM, health, Microsoft Insight. So basically Microsoft Insight is a powerful resource where you can view all the telemetry things. So inside that, you can also define these things: topology, transaction, metrics, event types, diagnostic settings, all you can define here. And if you search diagnostic setting, I think that okay, so that diagnostic was specifically for that Azure resource. But what I'm trying to explain here is that manage identities is having extension resource type. So for manage identity, the extension is identities. I guess that's how they are interpreting. Quotas request, group quotas, Microsoft resource health, Microsoft resource SCM security inside. I am just trying to see if there is any subscription which we can use. So basically in app we can write functions in logic app. So we'll walk you through examples where we can explain, where we can basically deploy an extension resource on an existing resource, and I'll explain it to you how it works. Before moving that, so basically the first thing is that deploying the extension resource at the depending upon the deployment scope. So basically there is an extension called Azure Logs, and it's an example. For example, if you want to apply this extension which can be applied to subscription, management group and tenant, you can just, all you need is to provide that scope where you are going to attach this log. So, and I guess that you can attach it, I'm not sure where they have defined this RG log, because they are saying here that to apply an extension resource, add the resource to your template as you would with any other resources, the available scopes of the resource group again. Okay, so in this next example, basically we are creating roles that we can assign to the subscription. So how they are doing it is that they are defining the roles, and the roles is kind of getting created dynamically based on the subscription and based on the subscription ID. And then in the role assignments, whatever role we want to create, so whatever role we are providing here, it's gonna get referenced from this type, and it will assign it to role. And this whole thing is gonna create a new GUID, and that GUID will be used as the name of the role assignment. So basically role assignment is kind of an extension and which will be applied on the subscription. Apply to resources. Okay, to apply an extension resources, to apply an extension resource to a resource, use a scope property. In this scope property, reference this resource you are adding, the extension you reference. Okay, applying to resource. Okay. So apply to resources. To apply an extension resource to a resource, use the scope property. In the scope property, reference the resources you are adding, the extensions you reference the resources by providing the symbolic name for the resource. The scope property is a root property for the extension resource type. The following type of creates a storage account and applies a role to it. Description, principal ID string, built-in roles, location. Okay, so basically here is the role defined, and then they are creating it here. I did not. The resources are only allowed on module. These properties are not allowed on individuals. So use modules if you want to deploy an extension resource with a scope that sets a resource in a different resource group. The following example shows how to apply a log on storage account, and that besides resides in a different resource group. Main.bicep. So basically the resource type that extends the capabilities of others. Resource type that extends the capabilities of others. Okay. So basically, okay, now okay, what I understood from here is that if you are attaching an extension to an existing resource, you have to write that reference from the previous name as a scope here, and that's how you will be able to attach the scope. So for example, in the main module, what they have done is that storage lock they have created, and that store lock is so this is the main bicep file, and in this main bicep file uh, they are referencing the storage log bicep, which is this one. And here they have defined that you provide us the name of the storage account, which we are doing it from here. We are providing this name, and what it does that it attaches the store log, which we cannot delete, and storage account cannot be deleted, is get attached to it. So using this module we will be adding it, that lock. That was the way to assign. Okay, the same requirement applies to extension resources as other resource when targeting a scope that is different than the target scope of the deployment. To learn about deploying to more than one scope, see resource group development. Okay, and basically here it's mentioning that that here is an example storage account, and here basically we are referencing the existing resource, and in the existing resource we are attaching this thing. Yeah, so it's not having a big learning idea here. I mean, I know I have to kind of explain in a specific order, but what this slide is explaining, what this document specific page is explaining, that let's suppose there is there is a resource already present, for example a function app, right? And in function app you want to assign a role assignment. That role assignment is gonna act as an extension of the function app, because it is changing the behavior how function app will behave, right? So the role assignment is gonna get explained in this by deploying this extension. It will get explained here. All right, so that was all for today, and I know I didn't explain it in a better way, but I'll be working on my slide, and we are almost near, and I got an overall idea of what are the things that I have to include in the ultimate guide to Bicep. And there I'll be covering everything that I have explained, and I know what I need to explain in detail. I have a 10 videos where I know where I have where I kind of went into I itself get lost while explaining, so I was not knowing how to explain that thing, but I now have an idea what are the things I have to explain. Tomorrow probably I'll bring one example and I'll try to deploy that. It will be a ready example from one of the GitHub community resource, and then I will be uploading it to explaining it to you what are the different components present here from all the previous topics. All right, that's gonna explain everything what we can have at max in Bicep. All right, my friends, that's all for today. It was a very short one. The first video we started with 1 hour content because I was super excited and I was having a lot of content, but now as the things get slow, I didn't get time to do more research on the topic, and I was not having better way to explain that thing. But overall we covered everything. We covered in multiple parts. We came up to 10 episodes, but now I think it's the time to release the ultimate guide to Azure Bicep, where we will covering all the concepts that's needed to master the Azure Bicep. So yeah, let's meet tomorrow to another in another example, and hopefully we'll be doing 2 or 3 more things on this topic, and then we'll move to another topic, and we'll use these all slides and information for the for preparing our final dedicated playlist. Thank you for watching. Please do subscribe the video, and yeah, see you tomorrow.